When Michael and Lisa Harris first saw the house, they knew it was the one. A grand Victorian estate stood on the edge of a quiet Pennsylvania town, surrounded by towering elm trees that cast long shadows over the neatly trimmed lawn. White columns framed the spacious porch, and enormous windows bathed the rooms in soft golden light. It was perfect, the ideal place to raise their 5-year-old son, Tommy, and build a future. The price was suspiciously low, but the realtor shrugged it off. Old house, not for everyone. As he handed them the keys, an older man, the previous owner perhaps, paused for a long moment. His face was pale, drawn, as if he wanted to say something. Then, in a hushed voice, he muttered, "Never leave the windows open at night." Lisa frowned. Why not? But the man was already walking away, ignoring her question. She exchanged a look with Michael, shrugged, and decided to forget the strange warning. At first, life in the new house felt like a dream. Lisa hung curtains, arranged dishes in the cabinets, and admired the old wooden floors that creaked with history. Tommy laughed as he explored the house, squeezing into hidden alcoves and vanishing into closets. He was especially fascinated by the attic, a dusty, dimly lit space that smelled of old wood and forgotten time. Michael worked remotely, spending his days in the upstairs study with a view of the backyard. The house, despite its age, felt warm, safe, but only during the day. At night, something changed. Lisa had trouble sleeping. She felt watched, not by Michael or Tommy, but by something unseen, something just beyond her vision. She woke suddenly, her skin prickling with cold. The bedroom window was wide open. Lisa sat up, staring at the open glass. She knew for certain that she had closed and locked it before bed. A cold draft whispered through the house. Down the hall, the curtains billowed as if something unseen was moving through them. She got up and shut the windows, her fingers trembling. Then, from Tommy's room, a small voice called out, "Mommy, someone's walking in the attic." At breakfast, Tommy seemed pale, pushing his food around his plate. "Did you have a bad dream, honey?" Lisa asked, brushing his hair back. Tommy shook his head. "I don't like it when she talks." Lisa's stomach tightened. "Who talks?" He looked up at her, his little face blank, as if confused by her question. "The lady in the attic." A cold shiver crawled up Lisa's spine. "What lady?" Tommy blinked, as if listening to something only he could hear. "She says the house belongs to her, and we're in her way." Then, as if nothing had happened, he picked up his spoon and kept eating. Lisa forced a smile and didn't ask anything else. But from that moment on, every time she looked at the ceiling, she felt something looking back. Lisa woke up in the dead of night, her heart pounding. She hadn't been dreaming. Something had woken her up. A whisper. Not words, just a faint, rasping breath, like dry fingers trailing over wooden walls. Lisa held her breath, listening. The sound came from inside the walls. She reached over and gripped Michael's arm. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. Michael grumbled something, turned over, and drifted back to sleep. Lisa lay awake for hours, staring into the dark. She knew now, the house was not empty. Lisa was cooking dinner when she heard laughter from the living room. At first, she smiled. Tommy loved playing pretend. But when she peeked around the corner, her smile vanished. He was sitting alone on the floor, giggling, his gaze fixed on an empty corner of the room. "Sweetheart, who are you talking to?" Tommy grinned. "The lady." Lisa's hands clenched into fists. "Where does she live?" Tommy didn't hesitate. "In the attic." Lisa's breath caught in her throat. Now she knew where she had to go. Michael dismissed her fears. "It's just an old house. Creaks, drafts, mice, and Tommy has an active imagination." But that night, Michael saw her. He woke with a start, sensing something in the room. At the foot of the bed, near the wardrobe, stood a figure, tall, thin, long, tangled hair hanging over her face. She didn't move. Michael lay frozen, his body paralyzed with cold terror. He blinked, and she was gone. But the air reeked of damp earth and decay. He never doubted Lisa again. Lisa went to the town library and searched through the archives. She found an old newspaper article. 1956. Tragedy strikes the Kane family. The father was found brutally beaten to death. His wife, strangled in the living room. Neighbors reported hearing screams, but when police arrived, the doors were locked from the inside. Their 8-year-old daughter, Elizabeth Kane, was never found. Lisa clutched the newspaper, her breath shallow. The parents didn't kill their daughter. She killed them. Lisa knew she had to go to the attic. She climbed the creaking ladder, gripping a flashlight. The air was heavy, thick with dust and something fouler, something rotten. She shuffled through the old boxes, searching for answers. Then she found it, a tattered photo album. She opened it with shaking hands. At first, the pictures were normal, family snapshots. A mother, a father, a little girl with long, dark hair. But as she flipped through, the photos grew strange. In one, the mother stood by the window, her mouth open in a silent scream. In another, the father grinned too widely, his eyes disturbingly vacant. And then, the final photo. It was blurry, distorted, as if the camera had failed to focus. Little Elizabeth Kane stood in the center of the frame, staring directly at the lens. Her eyes were black. Not just dark, hollow, endless, as if something else was looking through her. A soft sound came from behind Lisa. She didn't have time to turn. A cold, rotting hand slid onto her shoulder. Her breath hitched. A voice rasped in the darkness. "You found me."